jazz. Hello everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and joining me here tonight, we have our poser extraordinaire, Nitai.
So this is an ACAD quickie, some would say, right?
Yeah. And our
It comes and
wizard
goes.
a wizard of wait what, Shinoda.
I came here to be angry, and you won't change my mind.
Yeah, that's why we're here tonight. So we wanted to record something that's quick. This is like, in terms of what we do unscripted, we have no talking points in front of us. We just wanted to go off the cuff and talk about something. So as most people, I'm hoping, know by now, Neon Genesis Evangelion is out on Netflix. Woo! And it's something that we have been hyping up here for quite a while on the podcast. And quite frankly, it's something that deserved to be hyped up because this Evangelion has been in a fucking licensing hell in the West for ages. And I
quite
never thought
literally
I'd see the
years
day.
now at this point,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, almost 2 decades.
Christ.
And I never thought I would see the day when it would be available for streaming. I thought it would always be just resigned to, if you ever bought the DVDs back in the day, that's what you got, and the only other way to get it was to pirate it. So
Yep.
all of us here on the podcast were very, very excited to know that Netflix had acquired the license back in 2018, and that it was going to be coming out in June of 2019. And now that has come and gone, we have some thoughts about what has occurred, and a lot of them aren't very good. I want to say before we start that we are all happy that it is finally available for streaming for those who either weren't anime fans when it originally came out or never got a chance to watch us because it's been in licensing hell.
Yeah, just
Or at
so...
least never got a chance to watch it legally.
Yeah.
The fact that it's available legally for actually cheap price compared to the other methods is wonderful, and we fully support that. There needs to be even more of that for so much more older animes.
Yeah.
And of all places on Netflix, which is like the biggest streaming service.
And that's the other thing.
The
fact
world.
that there's a whole new generation that's been introduced to this special kind of hell is wonderful.
Yeah. So that being said, there are some issues, and we want to talk about Netflix's... Okay, I equate this with they have a 10-run lead in the bottom of the 9th inning, and they fucked it up and gave it away.
Alex, you just said some
that's one way to
sports
put it.
stuff in an anime podcast. What?
Let me put it in a way where people who don't give a fuck about sports can understand. They were given an easy win, and they managed to fuck it up.
Yeah, see, that's better.
I think the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that the English dub was completely redone with a brand new voice cast. I think that first of all, we should have realized that something was up with this whole re-release thing through Netflix when we originally found out that it was being redubbed with a brand new voice cast. Now,
not that there's anything wrong with that to say.
No, not necessarily. Now, when I heard it was being redubbed, my initial, because all that was said, I think this was back in like December or January, was that it was getting redubbed. My initial reaction was, oh, they're bringing back the old voice cast to come and redub it. And I thought, well, you know what? That might be a good idea because a lot of the people that were in the original English dub back when it was originally done in the 90s were kind of new to the voice acting thing, and they've had 20 years now to improve their skills, and most of them have. A lot of them are still around in some capacity.
And also, the production of the dub back in the day is just, in terms of quality, could be improved, honestly.
Yeah, even the sound quality could have been improved.
Yeah, the sound mixing and everything.
But even if it was the same sound quality, just hearing the improvement in the abilities of these voice actors over the years would have been really cool to see.
These
Yeah.
are
Having them all
veterans,
come back,
actors at this point. Yeah.
yeah. And I think if Netflix had even bothered to ask the original cast, they all would have come back and done it.
But here's the thing. I mean, we do know that like anime that like Netflix has a hand in, sort of they like to produce their dubs in house, right? Like most of their dubs are like sort of just belong to them. For example,
Yeah.
Violet Evergarden.
Yeah, that's a really good example. Or God, what's the other one? Kakegurui.
Yeah. Also, Devilman, by the way, but
Devilman, yeah.
so they
That's
do like
another
to
good
produce their
example.
own dubs in house. So we should have seen
Yeah.
this coming, honestly.
Yeah, we should have seen this coming. I also suspect that this might have had something to do with the fact that all of the original cast, I think, well, with the exception of one character, have come back to do the rebuild movies.
Right.
And that's owned by, their licensing to that is owned by Funimation. And they may have been under contract by Funimation. But I know for a fact that there were some of them that voiced very specifically that they wanted to come back and voice these characters for NGE.
Right.
And so I'm and I don't think any of us here have actually sat down and watched the Netflix re-release
And
of
also,
Evangelion.
you only, for the record, you only watched the show dubbed. I only watched the show subbed. So both of us
Back
are
in the
like-
day, yes.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
So I don't have that much attachment to the original dub, but that's
and
the
you
way
know,
you experienced it.
No, it wouldn't have bothered me. I probably would have watched it subbed through once, simply because I'd never seen it that way. So it would be a new experience for me in that way.
It's great. The Sayus are amazing, by the way.
And yeah, for sure. Because I have seen clips of the sub, but never actually sat down and watched the whole thing. But from what I have heard from people online, now I don't know myself because none of us here have actually had a chance to sit down and watch any of the episodes of NGE. But from what I have heard, the new English voice cast is not that good.
Yeah, so I watched, just like to check before we start recording, I watched a few clips of comparing both dubs, and I don't know, I don't think it's bad, I just don't like
The quality isn't as up to par.
I don't know.
It's not as good as the original English dub.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I need to sit more with it and think about it, but because I honestly don't know what to think about it. Because yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay,
okay.
just was about to.
God, just kiss already.
Motherfucker, go.
I was about just to say I don't have like a good reference point in terms of like the English voice cast because I only watch it subbed, so it's like I don't know how much I can add to that conversation, honestly.
I just want to say that. What did I want to say? It's a good question. Oh, so as I said, I haven't seen it. But I went and looked at like a cast list, and for the most part, it's a group of people I've never heard of.
Have you checked their like resumes or whatever?
There's a couple of them that I've heard of and that have done good work, but most of them, they doesn't seem like they've been around the dubbing scene that long.
Interesting.
So and I'm thinking this is fucking Netflix. Like if they really wanted to do this in house, they could have. This is a fucking company that just spent $100 million to get the streaming rights to Friends.
That's very true, actually. Which
I mean,
what
the fuck?
That whole prospect of them having enough money to do what they want, like we'll circle to that later once we get to a different part of this discussion.
No, I think this is a good chance to get into it.
Okay. So
Something else that happened is you're watching the first episode and it gets to the end
and something's missing.
Something's missing. Like you remember, I remember it because I watched it back in the 90s. It's like something's missing here. It's like, oh, that's right. Fly Me to the Moon isn't playing right now. Some fucking like elevator music is playing right now.
So like this is like the only part of like this whole discussion I'll really get upset about. Like the nerd inside me gets really like frustrated by this part. So they removed Fly Me to the Moon and put some instrumentals in the background, and it's like I know it's just the ED and most people would probably skip it, but like I mean technically it does play in some scene in the anime, but it's like you're fucking Netflix, and I know that music licensing is like one bitch to like handle. Like out of all like industries, music licensing is the worst probably. But it's
Also
like,
worth mentioning, Fly Me to the Moon does play if you happen to be like me and have a Japanese Netflix account.
yeah, and that's the thing. It does, like, if you have a Netflix account, like a Japanese account, it does play there. But outside of Japan, no, they replaced it. It's like,
Wait, a
like,
Japanese Netflix account?
yeah,
Yeah,
if you,
if you watch Evangelion on Netflix in Japan,
It
the
does have
ED
Fly Me to
is
the Moon.
Fly Me to the Moon.
Huh.
it's like,
Wait, what if you just choose sub as your option? Does
No,
it?
it's not. No, you have to be watching it in Japan.
so
It's
like use a
it's
VPN or whatever.
a region lock thing.
Yeah, and
Wow,
it's
that is
so
incredibly.
yeah, it's so frustrating because like what to me and to a lot of people, the hope with Netflix acquiring Evangelion would be, oh, would be like the definitive version of the show that I could watch easily on Netflix whenever I want. And now that it lacks this ED, it's like it just, again, I'm glad that they acquired the show and it's available for like worldwide streaming, but it's like it just, I don't know, it frustrates
When
me
you're
a bit.
missing something as iconic as that, there's some issues going on.
Yeah, and again, I'd like to point out Netflix just spent $100 million for Friends. Like, the issue is not we don't have enough money.
It's just a bitch to get through licensing. Probably they don't want to go through that hell. I think. I don't know.
The whole reason they did the redub is because they said it was too expensive to get the licensing to the original dub.
Yeah.
This is also what. This is the problem when you break up all of your licenses into so many little areas that it becomes enormously expensive to license anything about your show.
Yeah.
And also, this is a good warning to business people out there. Plan your licenses with the idea in mind that your fucking company could eventually go bankrupt.
Honestly, though, like, are we really surprised that Evangelion, a show that came out in the 90s and in the West, it came out when there was basically no anime industry in the West, like,
That's
like
true.
ended up like this in terms of licensing? I'm not surprised at all.
And I don't think that ADV Films, who originally held the license to the English dub, ever realized that Evangelion was going to become a classic.
Yeah.
I don't
That too.
think
Or they would have done
anyone
way
really
more with it.
expected it to turn out how it did, but
Yeah. It's so much that I could say. Then this is something that I'm about to go on a fucking rant here.
oh boy.
This is something
That's
that
why we're here.
This is something I personally find very, very annoying, and I've read so many articles over the last couple of days of people talking about this, and I think rightly so. I'm glad that people are talking about this. And the more people that talk about this, the better, in my opinion. But I have seen so many ignorant fucks, and this seems like it has nothing to do with Evangelion, but it's so many ignorant fucks out there call Fly Me to the Moon Frank Sinatra's song. Shut the fuck up. He didn't write it. He wasn't the first to record it. Fucking Frank Sinatra recorded Fly Me to the Moon in 1964. The fucking song was written by Bart Howard in 1954 for an American singer named Kay Ballard. So shut the fuck up, you fucking ignorant weebs out there. You don't know your fucking music history. I know this is such a insignificant point to get hung up on, but my god, I've heard so many ignorant people over the last few days. It's like fucking Frank Sinatra's song in there. Shut up.
And you
It's
straight
not
up
a song.
said that there are some people that are actually publishing articles with this incorrect information, right?
Oh my god. I know he made it popular, but it's not his song. I'm getting pissed.
Yeah, we noticed.
So I need to stop because I'm becoming less like Alex Senpai and becoming more like Alex Jones.
It's
Hack
entertaining,
into the
though, I'll
systems,
give it that.
globalists.
This fucking globalist took my double A.
Oh, God.
You and scum.
All right.
Oh my! I know that's such an insignificant point to get hung up on, but all you people really need to. It's not Frank Sinatra's song. He made it popular, but it's not his song. That's like saying that All on the Watchtower is Jimi Hendrix's song. No, he made it popular, but it's Bob Dylan's fucking song.
Wait, what? It's not Jimi Hendrix?
No.
I'm kidding.
Hey, here's a thought. You know that a lot of fucking Smash Mouth songs aren't their own songs either, huh?
Now I'm a believer.
Yeah, that's one of them. Oh,
anyway,
man. Getting off of that, so I feel like the biggest thing that we need to talk about. Oh, also, something that it's a minor thing, but apparently no one in the dubcast knows how to pronounce the word nerve.
How do they pronounce it? Do you know?
It's supposed to be pronounced nerve, like the word nerve. But there's some people in the dub that pronounce it like nerve or navra.
Nah, you're shitting me.
Nah, I have not. I've seen clips of people pronouncing it navra, nervra.
Okay.
I'm like, come on, man. Nerve.
No.
But I think probably the biggest thing, like, okay, so you take the music. All right, changing the music doesn't change the actual story being told. So if that was the only thing, I'd still complain, but I'd live with it, right? And also, I would like to point out the new ED that has been done, like the fucking piano music or whatever, elevator music, was written and performed by a musician at Gynax. So there is that connection.
Huh.
I don't know if it means anything.
It doesn't.
The biggest thing is that along with all the new dubs, the original Japanese dub is still there for you to enjoy. The subtitles have changed, though. Jesus Christ, Netflix. All you had, copy paste. It's been a part of every fucking word processor since forever.
Okay.
Like, that's all you had to do was copy paste the subs. That's all you had to do.
Okay. So, let's unpack this for a second. So, obviously, okay. So, from what I understood, I did a bit of research, and it seems like the translator who worked on it also worked with Studio Kara very closely while translating this, okay? Studio Kara, for those who don't know, is Hideki Anno's studio. They work on the rebuilds. All right. Now...
This means that Netflix themselves were not directly involved with creating the subtitles. So you can't necessarily be You can't necessarily be mad at Netflix for making the subtitles, but you can't be mad at them for accepting them.
Yeah. So it's like the translator doing his thing, not really influenced by Netflix. So like that whole narrative is not a thing you can throw that out the window. Here's the thing, though. I honestly like, and for context, if you want to talk about some changes, one of the more I won't say major, but it does matter to a lot of people, is near the end of the show, there is a certain character who expresses his affection to another character. And in, like, the sub that a lot of us knew till now... What is it, Shinoda?
I actually want to talk about this and get into this, because of all things that's happened, this is something I actually care about.
Okay, so, like, let me finish it, then, like...
Go ahead. I'll get into it after.
Yeah. So anyway, a certain character tells someone...
Let me get the popcorn.
Exactly. So, and the subs we knew till now were pretty much, I love you. And now it says, I like you. That's like one of the things that irritates a lot of people. So, before Chino starts, I'll just say this. As someone who translates a shit ton of stuff on a daily basis, just like, you know, because I speak Hebrew, and I speak English as well, and I... worked on translating stuff, whether it's for papers or just projects I worked with other creative individuals. A lot of translation is about interpretation and how you interpret whatever you listen to and put it out, like what type of emotion or idea you want to put out there, right? So like if before I was the nerdy guy who couldn't handle the fact that I changed the ED, I'm way more okay about this than most people, because I sort of understand where the guy is coming from. And I don't think it's like, a lot of people are like crying out that it's censorship. No, it's not censorship. It's not just the way that translator, sort of his take on the text, I guess. So that's...
Well, a lot of people are saying it's, in that particular instance that you're referring to, a lot of people are calling it gay erasure.
Which I don't think it is.
I certainly don't think it's intentional.
Because you still have the visuals on screen telling you very explicitly the type of body language that those characters have towards each other.
So,
like,
Chinoda, I'm interested to hear your thoughts, because I know
Chinoda,
you're kind of upset about it.
Okay. So, would you guys mind if I specifically spoiled this part?
Yeah,
Hold
I
on.
mean,
Evangelion spoiler in 3, 2, 1. Although you should have probably fucking watched it by if you're listening to this.
yeah,
Skip like a majority of what's coming next. Um,
right.
Good night,
so
everybody.
so in the towards the end of Evangelion, a newer character is finally introduced. You've seen him here and there, but he actually gets introduced. His name is Kaworu. Kaworu?
Kaoru.
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 Yes. Words. Um
Best boy.
oh, such a beautiful boy. A beautiful moon man, if you will.
All right, stop fucking drooling.
Um So he specifically in the older dub, he specifically says, "I love you," not "I like you." In the as in the newer dub, he
You mean sub?
specifically said, "I love you." Now, I can see why a lot of people are upset about this. I'm upset about this as well because even though it's just a couple words and the animations and scene of character interactions, it's still the same. The words still matter, in my opinion. Words have power. Let's be real,
Yeah.
they do. And the fact that they, whether intentionally or not, chose to take put those words away and use something else, it is rather upsetting because that is an integral relationship that has a direct impact on Shinji, like an actual impact.
Yeah, you're right. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think it's an intentional, like, gay erasure thing that
Yeah,
people are
it's
saying.
not. It's not.
I don't think that Netflix is a pretty fucking progressive company. I think the last thing they would try and do is censor
Netflix is
homosexuality.
pretty fucking gay. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So, so I kind of doubt that they'd be doing something like
have
that
any
on
of you ever
purpose.
seen a movie called Blue is the Warmest Color? There's a fucking 18-minute long lesbian sex scene in that.
Have any of you seen a specific show called Sense8? Let me tell you,
There you
lot
go.
of fucking gay stuff in that. But
I think there's a lot of SJWs that clinged onto this and it's like, see, it's gay erasure. It's like,
it's
okay,
not gay erasure.
It's certainly not intentional if it is.
But
I think what this is more than anything else is a translator taking. I would say
liberty.
taking license. I would say taking license, but that usually implies creativity. I think he's not taking enough license and trying to translate it as literally as possible. Because if you think about the implication of the scene you're talking about, well, Kaoru has like his confession to Shinji.
yeah, the words "I like you" is more. It's implying more than just a friend. Like I like you, as
Yes,
in
but
I like you in a romantic way.
In Japanese, he uses the word ski, which literally is interpreted as like,
Yeah.
but it's depending on how you use it.
A lot of
is
Japanese
such
is
an
very
inflection-based
contextual.
language.
Yeah,
but how much of a different, like, how much of it still shows affection. It's, you get the
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
And honestly, let's be frank. Most of the people who are upset about it, most of them watch the show numerous times, and most people are going to watch the show for the first time with no context, are still gonna get the same point that, okay, he
Yeah.
loves him. So it's like, is it really that big of a deal? In my opinion, not really.
I think this is way more of, like I said, it's a translator taking it far too literally. Which,
Yeah.
you know, we talk
if
about
anything,
this all
that's
the time.
he did the translation job. That's good.
He literally translated it, which
Yeah.
is the job of a translator. And you know,
The
you think
problem
about
is
it,
context.
the job of a translator is to translate something, not to interpret something. So,
But
really,
translation is interpretation. Like,
But what they should have had was someone else there who knows the source material, who like has a fucking link to Hideki Anno, that knows what Anno meant, and it's like, okay, I
Like
know
you can
this is
straight up look at
fucking
the
literal
manga. They fucking made out
Well,
several.
the
at
manga,
least once?
the manga
Wait, but-
technically, the manga isn't canon.
yeah, manga isn't canon.
Oh
But
yeah, this is true.
But
God
the
damn it.
translator did work with Studio Kara, so they did sign off on this translation.
Yes,
you know?
Kara did. Anno did not. Anno actually worked on the original sub-translation, though,
No,
for
really?
Evangelion. Yes, he did.
I
He
did
actually
not know
worked
this.
on the original subtitle translation.
Oh, holy
But
shit!
But his studio had a hand in this, but he explicitly did not. He's too busy fucking not giving us Evangelion 4.0.
Next year.
It's being worked down.
You know how many times I've heard next year from him?
Listen, if we manage to get Kizumonogatari finally, so I bet we'll get 4.0. Anyway.
I understand people's frustration for this, and actually it's a double-edged sword because the opposite has been true in anime for far too long, where people actually don't translate stuff literally, and we're the ones that complain about that. So it is kind of a double-edged sword. How much do you translate literally so you get the actual story across, and then how much do you allow for interpretation to make it actually sound good in the language it's being translated into? Because you could probably say something in Hebrew Nitai that sounds beautiful and poetic in Hebrew, but then you literally translate in English and it's like,
it doesn't work.
Fuck?
Right.
And it's like, that's myself as someone who's multilingual. It's like, it's a double-edged sword that you have to walk. And Japanese is so unique in that regard because there's so much of the Japanese language that is inferred by inflection. You can say the same phrase like 4 different ways with 4 different inflections and 4 different levels of volume, and it can mean something different. So I don't envy the job of Japanese translators.
No, definitely not.
So I can see both sides of this. I really wish that they had just copy-pasted from the original subs.
Yeah, this is one instance where it would have just been better to straight up copy-paste it just so that nothing like this happened. But you can't ever see when something will become an issue or when it won't. It's pretty hard to recognize.
It's also worth pointing out that they also took out all of the swear words for no reason.
Okay, so just want to say, not gonna lie, when the dub came out for Evangelion, that was in the 90s. It was a time when people would pretty much be okay with shoving like swear words left and right just to be a bit more
edgy.
To some extent, yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I don't mind. I'm okay with it.
You know, you say that, and I personally, I don't mind either. I know that in Japanese, they really isn't curse words, so all the curse words you see in Japanese subtitle or in subtitles for Japanese, those are added by the translators to give you a better sense of how lines are supposed to be interpreted. Actually, I think there's only one word in Japanese that gets actively censored on television, and that's manko, which means female genitalia. Thank you.
Pussy.
This will now be delisted on YouTube. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
So again, Japanese. It's another example of the translator being too literal, in my opinion.
Yeah, but again, what I said before, it's about how interpreted like the text and this and worked accordingly to that. So it's like I don't know. That's one discussion I don't like really feel that upset about or like mad about it, because I don't know, I sort of get it, like it's a tough job.
Yeah, it is. I will say that this one of the most iconic scenes from the movie End of Evangelion is Shinji after that scene looking at the
just say it.
The results of his labor. And that line where he's like, I'm so fucked up. And now it's like, it is, to their credit, literally translated to what he actually says in Japanese, I'm the lowest of the low. But that scene in the dub is, that line in the dub is so iconic now, and it's been changed. So it's such double-edged sword. I'm upset, but I'm not, and it's... The good thing is that most of the stuff that we've talked about, these issues, are relatively easily fixable. The subtitles, for sure, are very easily fixable. I hope that because of this, they do go back and maybe change to just copy-paste the original subtitles.
Yeah, but honestly, they, don't really, I don't think they would do that, because they don't owe anyone any, changing of the subtitles, you know?
They don't owe anyone anything. It's just a fact of will they?
They won't.
I think that if any of this stuff does get changed, I would say that the subtitles will get changed before anything else.
Nah.
Because they're the easiest thing to change.
I'd rather they first bring Fly Me to the Moon, honestly.
Do you know that there's actually a Chrome browser extension that if you're watching Evangelion inside the Chrome browser and it gets to the end of the show, it automatically starts playing a YouTube clip of Fly Me to the Moon.
Wow.
Bless the internet. Bless the internet.
Yeah, so that's out there for people to download.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to finish this up because this rant has gone on for far too long. I think all of us are excited by the prospect of older anime coming to these streaming services. I think we want more stuff like this, more of these old anime that people that have not been licensed forever, coming to these like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, whatever, Crunchyroll. I mean, a good example recently is the original run of the Legend of Galactic Heroes OVA series is on High Dive now. Like,
that's very true.
The only way you could have watched that before in the 80s and 90s was to be part of a fucking newsletter distribution group that sent VHS tapes out in Japan.
How
that was the only way to watch
off
them.
The charts does that sound?
That was the only way to watch that for fucking decades. And now it's all on High Dive. It's all been beautifully remastered. And although there is a Blu-ray box set that is $790.
We know because he almost bought that. I was there with him.
You had to drag me away from Sentai's booth not to buy that.
Wow.
I'm just happy that stuff like this, there are so many other old shows I'd love to see come to streaming services so that not only I can go back and watch them and relive my experience of watching them again after so many years, but so that this new generation of anime fans that we have can go and see how we got here. Like, there's probably a dozen I can name off. I'd love to see someone license Urusei Yatsura, the very first ecchi anime. I'd love to see anyone out there license the original Dororo, the original Astro Boy, all this great old, another one, Space Pirate Captain Harlock, which is a great, fucking phenomenal old anime from the 70s. Just please, the Netflix, Hulu, anyone, definitely keep licensing these old anime because I guarantee you there's a market for it. Just don't change anything.
And also like the preservation of the art, you know.
Yeah, I see. So another thing with with Legend of Galactic Heroes on High Dive was that it got a fucking HD remaster and it makes it look so good. If we could get more of that with these streaming services, especially Netflix, who I know can afford it. If High Dive can afford it, I fucking know out there that Netflix can afford it. I would love so much to see more of this happen. And it's just a shame that there's so much controversy with this Netflix re-release of Evangelion because I think, as I said in the beginning, they were given an easy win and all they had to do was just close it out and they couldn't do it.
But still, like, I'm super glad that we do have Netflix, Evangelion on Netflix.
Yeah.
Let's be frank.
And absolutely. And it's worth pointing out that you and I, Natai, definitely still plan to do our Netflix watch of Evangelion in spite of all this. We'll also do End of Evangelion.
It's gonna be so good.
I mean, it's still Eva. It's still iconic. It's still
a classic.
It's still Cruel Angel's Thesis. Thank God that's still there.
Okay, if that wasn't there, shit would have been hitting the fan. Like, everything else aside, if that wasn't there, oh my God, I can only imagine.
So, you know what that is?
What?
That's fucked up.
Okay.
That was the lowest of lows.
That was the lowest of the low. And on that note, thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us rant for half an hour. We hope you enjoyed it because we always enjoy bringing it to you. If you want to check out previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, you can join us on Discord, Facebook, Twitter, and our website. Shoot us an email if you have any questions, comments, or if you have ideas for topics you would like to see us talk about in the future. Links to all of the things I mentioned will be down below in the description. As always, I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, fuck-ups. I mean, everybody.
Oh my god, where's the bed? I need to sleep. Fuck you all.
Love your mother, everyone.
Oh my
God damn it. You did not. You did not.
I do not endorse incest.